If you want to know what Billie Eilish, Nicki Minaj, Stevie Wonder, and the estate of Frank Sinatra and Bob Marley has in common when it comes to AI, keep listening. Welcome to the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Miles Davis, and my co-host Chris Branch. This is the daily 10-minute podcast where we take out all of the techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, content creator, and marketer really wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one particular subject. And today, we're going to talk about a subject that we love talking about, and that is music. But where we don't necessarily not like talking about, but something that happens a lot in music, and that is the problems that AI is likely to cause the creativity of artists. And the reason why we're talking about this today is because last week there was a letter that was sent. I'm not sure who it was sent to, but it had a number of different signatures, including Billie Eilish, Nicki Minaj, Stevie Wonder, and it was saying that the AI and all the AI companies, you're really looking to destroy our careers. You know, you're looking to destroy our creativity, and we need this to stop. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Chris, you've seen the articles that are all over the internet about this. What's your initial thoughts?
I totally understand why they're scared, because having worked in the music industry and understood how ruthless major record labels are, I can just imagine them not even bothering to actually hire artists and just generating their own music and releasing it under their own label. Like, why do you need the musician if you can literally go to an AI and then produce a hit record and then release it without having to share that with the artist? Like, it is genuinely scary. Now, I'll say I come from an interesting background with music because I was into producing music and sampling and DJing, and hip hop is my roots. So, like, that has all stemmed from borrowing other people's music and resampling it and scratching. And so I would be quite, biased in this case, in that I love AI and I love hip hop and I love sampling. So this is a natural extension in order to get generative music samples on top. But it's genuinely scary for those that aren't, from that background or have that feeling about music, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's almost four types of people that's involved. You've got the artist, you've got the record labels, you've got the end users, and then you've got the tech companies.
Yeah.
So as an artist, I would look at this. No, let me correct myself. As an established artist, I would look at this and I'll be quite worried because I'm Drake and then someone else is creating AI Drake and creating songs. Some of them, not so much now, but you never know where the future holds, could be better than what I'm putting out there, so I'll be worried about that. On the flip side, if I was an artist, I might say one of my goals for next year is to release a song every week. And it might have been something I've been thinking about for years, but I just don't have 52 songs, good songs that I can put out every week. Maybe this AI stuff can help. Actually, not only can it help write the lyrics, it can also record it when I'm not feeling well. And all I've got to do is appear in the video. Oh, hold on, what's Sora? Oh, Sora can actually do my likeness. Hey, I don't even need to do that now. So there's that as well. So there's that flip side. So I think that's from the artist point of view. Like, there's good and bad. And the artist, I would also put the producer, as you said, you was a producer, because you still got your celebrity, you still got your name if you're an established artist. So if myself and Chris, we put together a track that we used, let's say one of the platforms like Suno Free to create a song, it still won't do that well because we don't have, and let's say if it was connected to do with Nicki Minaj and we pretended we was Nicki Minaj's voice, etc., we still don't have Nicki Minaj's following. Nicki Minaj can still put it out to 100 million people. We don't. So I think that's going to play a big part as well. And that's where I talk about sell their celebrity, because they still have huge people who follow them for them.
But I think you raise a really interesting point, and that is basically that if you are an existing artist with a lot to protect, yes, it's scary, but if you're an emergent artist and you've got nothing to protect, it's incredibly powerful, and it might be
Yeah.
able to get you to break through. You know, this is the idea that everyone's coming to grips with, is that art is no longer just for artists. Music is no longer just for musicians. You know,
Mm.
copywriting is no longer just for copywriters. All of these things have been given to the public to be able to make their own things and express their own opinions and things like this. And it's genuinely worrying to those that are in the niche club of already doing that thing, knowing that it's about to expand 100-fold. You know,
Yeah.
like, we'll now have 100 times more people making music than ever before in human history. That's
Mm.
insane to think about. You know,
Yeah.
genuinely insane.
And what was crazy, it was insane before when social media was all of a sudden
Yeah.
available. When people can, where before, if you was a musician, like no one would know who you are unless you was like in mainstream or traditional like
Right.
broadcasters, like the BBC, like Top of the Pops or Smash Hits magazine or wherever it may
Yeah.
be. Then the internet came about, and now anyone could put something on SoundCloud or back in the
Yeah.
day MySpace or Bebo, and obviously YouTube.
Totally.
Now you've got something that you can create the song with and a distribution platform. So we're going to
Yeah.
see inundated. But here's the thing. Now, as you just said there about the established and the emerging, that
Mm-hmm.
here the letter was by established artists, because it says a
Mm-hmm.
group of more than 200 high profile musicians have signed an open letter calling for the protection against the predatory use of AI that mimics humans, artists' likeness, voices, and sound. Now, I wonder, of the 200 high profile musicians, if it was just artists, and how many record labels are signing this. And the reason I say that is because
Mm-hmm.
when it is all said and done, it will go down to, like with all music, who owns the publishing.
Yeah.
You know, if there was
Definitely.
a deal in place when it is like, okay, well, who owns the publishing for this, and the record labels will still own the publishing, will the record labels care? You know, will they
Mm.
really, really care if Nicki Minaj sang it or some likeness to Nicki Minaj, if they're going to take the money anyway? So there's that. Obviously, there's the relationship they have with the artists, but
Mm-hmm.
from a business point of view, if they're owning the publishing, it won't matter so much. So that means the artist might not have that protection from the record labels anymore,
Mm.
which then could potentially change record labels, because artists will be like, why am I going to sign to you? You
Definitely.
know, so there's that as well.
Actually, I didn't look at whether the record labels had signed it, but if they didn't, the silence would be deafening, because that's
Mm.
essentially them saying that, no, we don't want to go against this technology because we're planning on using it. So that's
If they
really
own the
crazy.
publishing, this for them is a gold mine. If they own,
Oh,
because
yeah.
if they can own the publishing, and all of a sudden, where we've got one Drake and we have to wait every three years for an album, or every 2 years, now I can have Drake songs like 50 a month, and I'm making money off of all of them. Hey, this is great. But again, what we're saying, not necessarily saying this is true, but I'm just saying that, whoever owns publishing will own them, but will take the money. So
Well,
that's always been the case.
we'll have a new episode about this coming soon, because I would think it's worth a full episode. But I've seen a
Yeah.
recent trend where there are brands making contracts with agencies saying you cannot use AI in the actual clause of the contract. And maybe
Mm.
musicians will start to have this with major record labels, you know, because prior they won't have ever had it. And that means all of that stuff's up for grabs almost. They've not signed
Yeah.
something to say you cannot use this in future because they've never thought about that. But that's maybe a full episode.
Do you know who's going to make the money out of this? The lawyers. The lawyers are going to make the money out of this, as
Yeah.
always. Yeah, they're going to write new laws. They're going to make a lot of money, because there's all new laws, all new legislations, all new trademarks, all new copyrights. They're going to make a substantial amount of money.
Oh
But
boy.
the question, though, and it's something that you raised off before the episode, and that was, why now? Why
Yeah.
did this letter come out now?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we've
Mm.
seen this happen already a lot with other creative industries, like the writer's strike and the artist strike and other things like this. I believe it's because Suno version 3 has just come out, and this is the first thing that's truly terrifying to musicians. You know, like everything before now has been kind of gimmicky. Now it's like real.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, when it comes to what's happened with the musicians putting out, or 200 musicians putting out an open letter asking AI companies essentially to stop when it comes to creating technology that can mimic their likeness, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.